Hey guys, Will here, and I'd like to talk to you about how learning theories can either align or conflict with our Christian faith. If you haven't seen the other video on learning theories, you can either click right here or the link is in the description below. It goes through all the different learning theories and provides a brief explanation and kind of my thoughts on those. But the four I would like to talk to you about are behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and connectivism. A little bit about behaviorism. It's a whole idea that there's a system of rewards or punishments that is influencing the learner and how they're going to react within the environment. How they're going to acquire that knowledge is based off of a punishment or reward system. You might think of this as like a classroom monetary system where kids who do better or follow the rules receive more money and can purchase things at the end, whereas kids who don't perform as well might not earn as much money. Other ideas could be like detention after school for negative behavior, or even positive feedback on a paper, something that students are looking to receive. Cognitivism, the learning process, is all about storing and acquiring knowledge. It's very learner-centered in the idea that they are interested. So it's more of an internal Loki, which is that they are interested in the information, they're looking for the information, and they're going through the motions to learn it. Constructivism is that we construct social meaning around our knowledge. The primary researcher on this would be Vygotsky. So his idea of zone of proximal development, where students learn from a more knowledgeable other. You could see this more as where you have older students reading to younger students and helping them through that whole reading process. Other ideas can include group centers, where the students work together in a group with one person with a higher ability maybe leading the group, as well as projects where students are split off into specific jobs to work within the group. Finally, the last one is Connectivism, which is that we rely on our knowledge through connections, which is very much technology enhanced. So we're relying on the internet as well as those online communities. Some examples of this might be such as discussion-based learning, so it can still be very local, but discussion-based learning where students talk with each other and gain insight from each other as a class. Or the teacher can have students use online communities to answer questions, or even use the internet just to answer all questions. So going to places like Wikipedia or learning how to do a proper Google search can relate to that. So how do those four learning theories align or conflict with what we know, or with our Christian faith? I think it's interesting because this is my warning, is that all of these either align or conflict based off of the frame of reference that you're going through. If you're going into behaviorism as a very law-oriented approach, that you want to maintain complete control of your classroom through the use of fear tactics, then that's not going to work very well. That's actually going to be conflicting with what we know through the gospel, which is approaching students in love. So speaking to students in love is going to gain higher results because they're not going to be in a fear-based system. In terms of cognitism, that learner-centered or mind-centered education, it puts it on the student. They are responsible, if we're going with the conflicting theory, they're responsible for their faith. And that's not true, because we know it's the Holy Spirit who's responsible. Connectivism, same thing. You know, we're saying that it's not us, it's the group. The group is responsible for our faith and keeping each other together in the faith. And we can go with that, but it also takes away that, as my wife says, the human capacity for reason. Not allowing us to make the decisions, but the group to make the decisions for us. And then constructivism, again, as my wife aptly put it, it's called moral relativism. It's that capacity for truth is inherent among all of us, and that we can figure it out on our own without any help from anyone, which again we know is untrue because the Holy Spirit is what is in charge of our faith, which is responsible for our understanding of the Word. In terms of self-reflection, again, it's all of these work together as either a conflicting statement or they can align with our Christian faith. And again, it's just that frame of reference that we have. So in terms of behaviorism, like I said, speaking the truth in love. That's what I think we need to approach behaviorism as. Not this rewards or punishment system, but the idea that if somebody is out of line, that we can safely approach them either as the individual or as a group to help correct that problem right there. In terms of Cognitivism, this is really our traditional method of church. We have a pastor up front who is providing a sermon that we as a congregation listen to, and instead of relying on ourselves to interpret and understand what the pastor is saying, it's that the Holy Spirit is working within us. The Holy Spirit is in charge of leading us to faith. The Connectivism, it does place that focus off the individual or off the learner, as I said, and it puts it on that group. And in my other video, which you can click on the link in the description below to check that out, I have some issues with Connectivism. Just the idea that it's taking any sort of responsibility off the learner, off the student, and is placing it solely on the internet and the connections we make. And the more connections we have, then the better we are. And I have some hang-ups about that, but you can see that in the other video. And then finally, Constructivism. It's really what the learner puts into it is what they receive, and I think that might be one of the biggest issues with American Christianity right now, is that if we're not putting all of our heart into whatever we're doing for church or for community service or activism, then we are not truly working as Christians, and that is a major issue because we know it's not us whose responsibility for our faith and eternal salvation. It is in fact the Holy Spirit. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.